Hello everyone, it's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel and tap that notification bell like this video. That helps me to keep making videos. I'd appreciate it majorly. So, back to the Jeffrey Epstein death investigation, suicide, murder. And there's some new developments, new details. The investigation seems to be moving quickly, although from where I stand, having the Attorney General, who's basically an ally of Trump, investigate this, that doesn't really give me a lot of confidence at all. Zero. But nonetheless, we have to work with whatever's being reported. So, there's a few things that stand out to me. One of which nobody else seems to be making much of a big deal about, but to me, it's just like, well, there's a number of things. Okay, the warden from the prison, the MCC, he's been reassigned to like a regional office in the Northeast, I believe, here in Philadelphia. His name has been released, and then two prison guards, presumably two guards that were, assigned to check in on Epstein, have been put on administrative leave. Those two, their identities have not been released. The warden's name is this right here. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly. Lamine Ndiaye. So I don't know. When I looked up that name, you can't find anything on it other than there's a very famous professional soccer player, I believe, or soccer coach with that same name, who I think is Sudanese, from the Sudan. So, I wasn't able to find a single thing on the individual, a photograph or anything, other than he's been reassigned, like it says here, to the regional office in the Northeast, the Northeast Regional Office, which I believe is located in Philadelphia, according to New York Times. The other oddity is that one of the guards working in the MCC, I guess in the special isolation unit overseeing Jeffrey Epstein, was not a regular corrections officer. I don't exactly know what that means. There's several reports of that institution being short-staffed. That's why people are working repeated overtime shifts. But presumably he's got some training in corrections, but we don't know. I mean, one of Epstein's guards at the Metropolitan Correctional Center on the night he died was reportedly not a regular corrections officer. It's very strange, obviously. And is that one of the two people that are placed on administrative leave? I don't know. That we don't know that. So, but it does say that also over here at CBS that it looks as though two of the officers, the two that were supposed to have checked on Epstein, may have falsified the records, basically stating they did the checks when in fact they didn't. And I believe it's being reported. I'm going to read through this real quickly right now for the first. I'm just sort of paraphrasing. Um, I believe video shows that, surveillance video that shows the hallway. It doesn't go into the cell. That's been established by now that there is no video of him actually committing suicide. There's no video camera pointing into a cell that would show that. It only shows the hallway, as I understand it. So it shows when people enter and leave the cell, but doesn't show into the cell, inside the cell. But surveillance footage of the special IC unit proves, according to reports, that the checks that they signed off on, they didn't in fact do. That's what it seems. And here, it actually says that it appears Epstein had been dead 1 to 2 hours before he was found. Okay, so, which also, there's another report over here from CBS. Shrieking heard from Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell the morning he died. During when he was discovered. There's according to reports, on the morning of Jeffrey Epstein's death, there was shouting and shrieking coming from his jail cell, a source familiar with the situation told CBS News. Corrections officers attempted to revive him while saying, "Breathe, Epstein, breathe." And so I guess other inmates or um, staff from the MCC reported that they heard shouting and shrieking. I don't know if shrieking is from the corrections officers or from an Epstein that was in the midst of dying. Although over here it says it appears that he was dead for 1 to 2 hours before he was found. I mean, to me, my first inclination is thinking like it's almost as if they're performing, that they knew he was going to be dead in there, and so they're acting surprised, as if they as if they discovered him in the midst of committing suicide, or in the later stages of committing suicide, in the process of dying, when in fact, knowing that that's not the case, because he had already been dead for 1 to 2 hours, according to some reports, and I think the autopsy is going to bear that out. So, I mean, that just seemed like a major inconsistency among 1,000 inconsistencies. The other thing that's extremely strange is the fact of the cellmate who was transferred the night before he died, and it was Friday evening. It was hours. It says, I don't have the Daily Mail article that was quoting the Washington Post. It was hours before he died. The cellmate. Previously it said he was transferred out of there mysteriously, but here it says he posted bail. It says multiple sources told CBS News that Epstein's cellmate at the Metropolitan Correctional Center posted bail last Friday, leaving Epstein alone in his cell the day before he died. So Friday night, his cellmate posted bail. The odd thing about that is that he was in the special isolation unit. Okay, which is a special unit for people who are in danger of other prisoners because of whatever, because he's this high-profile convicted pedophile. His life had been threatened, or and he had either been attacked before. Actually, he was in the special isolation unit when he was attacked, or his previous suicide attempt, depending on what you believe. But it just seems strange somebody is posting bail from the special isolation unit. I mean, typically I would think of somebody being in the special isolation unit, somebody who's there for an extended stay and isn't somebody that you would expect to be posting bail, and in the early stages of their stay there. I mean, it's usually when somebody's posting bail, it's because, I don't know, that just seemed very strange to me that somebody would be posting bail, particularly his cellmate, but in the special isolation unit. And I haven't heard anyone talk about that. That's I think that person's identity is pretty critical, and I don't know if we're ever going to learn that. So that's that. As I was saying before, that it's being reported by the Associated Press. The Associated Press reported that guards on the unit are suspected of falsifying log entries to show they were making 30-minute checks on Epstein, according to a person familiar with the probe. But investigators learned that those checks weren't done for several hours before he was found Saturday morning, according to that person. The AP said surveillance video reviewed after the death showed guards never made some of the checks noted in the logs, according to the person, who wasn't authorized to disclose information and spoke to the AP Tuesday on a condition of anonymity. Eric Young, president of the Union Council that represents prison guards, said the reassignment of guards is routinely done to protect the integrity of investigations until any formal action, if any, is warranted. Because, like I said, two of the Barr, who said after Epstein's death was that he was appalled, said Warden Lamine Ndiaye was being transferred to the Bureau of Prisons Northeast Regional Office pending the outcome of the FBI Inspector General probes of the death. The Justice Department announced Tuesday that it is removing the warden of the Metropolitan Corrections Center in Manhattan and putting 2 staffers on leave in wake of the apparent weekend suicide. The 2 staffers on leave, that's what I was looking for. Anyways, the one last thing before I kind of close this out, and this is kind of just some housekeeping, but I just want to stay on top of this for sure. And we'll see, man. We'll see where this goes. There's so much to go through. But one other thing that was pretty interesting is the fact that they believe maybe somebody had posted to 4chan, had leaked this to 4chan a full hour before it was made public. I mean, this is the post to 4chan, and they think that maybe, because it says the FDNY, the fire department of New York, is investigating this because it's one of their paramedics, I think, that they suspect might have done this, because it seems as though the person had knowledge of that, of like the EMTs, because in addition to this post, which was the first post basically leaking it, the individual went on to post further information about the procedures they were performing on Epstein in the prison cell, trying to revive him, whatever. I don't really want to get into the specifics, but this is the first one that was posted at, Saturday, August 10th at 8:16 in the morning, and that's like a full hour, pretty much before anything was put out into the public domain. I found out about it myself right around 9:15. My wife, basically Saturday morning, elbowed me and said, Epstein's dead. So, and here it says, don't ask me how I know, but Epstein died an hour ago from hanging, cardiac arrest, screen cap this. And then, and that even had some details that weren't out very, very, in the first moments, and around 9:15 they weren't out. So, actually it says here, the ABC reported around 8:45 was the first time it was publicly put out tweeted by ABC. That message was posted 38 minutes before that. So they're investigating that, And that's pretty much, people have already gone over this. The fact that Trump has retweeted, this dude's tweet about the Clinton body count, and he was asked about it today in his press conference, not his press conference, his makeshift press conference on his way to Marine One, the helicopter. And, in my opinion, that's precisely why he tweeted this, okay? It's because he wanted to be asked about it. And he wanted to and he was asked about it multiple times. And, the second time he was asked about it, he brought up Bill Clinton, and he brought up the fact that, that he had, we don't, they need to ask him if he's visited the island, because according to, Gouffre, who's, I believe it's her sworn testimony under deposition, claimed he had visited the island. I remember seeing this tweet by this Daily Mail journalist, and this is the first news that came out when these unsealed documents came out super fast. His headline was, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump never had sexual relations with any of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, says former sex slave. I remember thinking that was a strange. I mean, this was leading before anybody else, and it put Bill Clinton and Donald Trump together and said they never had sexual relations with any of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. And I later went on and read some of Guthrie's testimony in other places, because it wasn't mentioned in this one. But in Guthrie's testimony, she indicates that Bill Clinton did visit the island. In any event, that I don't know. But Trump mentioned that today, and I believe he tweeted this specifically for that reason, because he wanted to be asked about it and he wanted to say what he said. which is that, people, you know, people need to look into whether or not Bill Clinton went to that island. And it was more or less, just another. I don't think this is just pleasing his base. I mean, I think he's literally saying, if I'm going down, you're going down with me to the Clintons. That's what he's saying for sure. So get to work, because he's doing his work. He's doing his work on his end. So, and that's the review for now. And that's the story there. More to come. Alright, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.